Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of James Bond and Bitcoin Live 00104, 104. Hashtag lightning, not lightening, lightning. Let me see if I said that right. Lightning. Yeah. Anyways, so anyway, you'll get an idea what the show is about today. But let me go over the notes section here real quick, just to make sure I got everything in order. So in the notes section, I have, can Bitcoin be replaced via multiple hard forks? James Bond interview on CrushTheStreet. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check it out. It's a great interview. I have a weird, strange voice on that video for some reason, but I say a lot of interesting things. And so, okay, after that, collecting your free Bitcoin gold coins with Coinomi. So far, I've only used one wallet, and that's Coinomi to split my any tokens whatsoever. I've never used any other wallet or any other service, but apparently there is some issues with a wallet, my Bitcoin wallet, and I'll get to that a little bit later. How to split Bitcoin Gold, BTG 01. That's the video that I made. It's a tutorial on how to split your Bitcoin Gold from Bitcoin on your Coinomi wallet. All right. So if you had a Coinomi wallet, if you had Bitcoin on your Coinomi wallet, you could do it. If you didn't, and you had the backup recovery seed, you can import your recovery seed onto the Coinomi wallet and split your Bitcoin Gold that way. Hopefully you can send out your Bitcoin Gold to wherever you want it to, and just simply not restore, but you could, I guess, I don't think there's a way to delete a wallet, but you could just restore your previous Coinomi wallet. And then wherever you got your backup seed from, that still remains a valid wallet. Like, for example, if you had a ledger or a Trezor, if you took the recovery seed and put it onto Coinomi, split your Bitcoin Gold, and then restored your Coinomi back to the original wallet, your Trezor would still be there on your Trezor, all your private keys and everything. Anyways, and then a link to Bitcoin Gold. Now, I put a link to Bitcoin Gold for informational purposes for people who are interested about Bitcoin Gold. Be careful. The wallets that they're recommending, some of the wallets that they recommended on Bitcoin Gold had malware or was a scam wallet, and a lot of people lost their Bitcoin. I'll get to that a little bit later. And I have my usual potential hard forks, a list of them. Bitcoin Silver, the It's Time to Stop meme, love that meme. Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Uranium, BitcoinCashPlus, BitcoinClashic. Those are some of the potential hard forks that may come up, including SegWit 2x. Apparently, it may actually come up soon. I'll get to that a little bit later. And then I have a list of airdrops for all those people who love getting free money falling from the sky. And in the notes section, I have SegWit Charts. I know I forgot last episode, but maybe I'll remember this episode, or maybe I'll forget it again. And then I have a list, CoinCodex. It is a listing platform like CoinMarketCap. The only difference is I think they don't list BitConnect, which is a complete Ponzi and scam coin. So CoinCodex is a listing platform. Another one is LivecoinWatch. I like that one because it's live, and it also does not list BitConnect. and it doesn't have too many advertising. It definitely doesn't have any BitConnect advertising. I do enjoy the 7-day gains and losses, the moving average on the 7-day, so that helps. Really useful. And then CoinGecko is another listing platform, and CoinGecko will have an index for developer involvement or developer participation and community participation as well. Those are very useful information, especially if you're going to be acquiring tokens or buying tokens or working for tokens. And then also in the notes section, I have bitinfocharts.com, very useful site. Also a listing platform, but it has a lot of other useful applications and tools. It will show you the difficulty rate of different coins and other things, which I'll also go over. Another good tool, website is Johoe's Mempool statistics. I'll be going over that. We'll take a look at the mempool of Bitcoin. You can also look at the mempool of Bitcoin Core as well as Bitcoin Cash. I don't think we have to worry about the mempool issue on Bitcoin Cash because nobody's using it. Nobody's using their tokens, so they have very little transaction limits, or they don't have any backup issues like Bitcoin does. Also in the notes section is Transaction Accelerator. This is from via BTC. If it does help you in any way, I don't mind using it. I've never had to use it. It is also a way to send your Bitcoins as well. You can broadcast your raw transactions, I guess, on their nodes. I don't know if that would help or not. They have other useful tools. And then, of course, I have Bitcoin Cash Hashrate, historical 6 months. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to bitinfocharts.com, and it'll do a comparison between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. You might find something very interesting with that comparison. Okay, so I'm going to get to the meat of the show. And it's not an article. This first one is a video. It says Bitcoin Gold are con artist. Bitcore, Bitcore is another token, hits $48 all-time high. This is another YouTuber. This is Crypto Type, used to be called Bitcoin. He made a video today, and it turns out that he is a victim of a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, my Bitcoin wallet, my Bitcoin Gold wallet, I think. Yeah, I think it's my Bitcoin Gold wallet that was recommended on the Bitcoin Gold website that he used to try to split his Bitcoin and Bitcoin Gold. And he ended up losing, he said, a lot of Bitcoin. Now, if you watch the video, it's a link to a video, and he talks about other people have lost a lot of Bitcoin. He knows one guy who lost 6 Bitcoin. So if you think about how much Bitcoin is now, and I don't know how much, I think it's almost $8,000. So 6 times 8, that's almost $47. Is that right? No, 6? 36? That's $36,000? That's a lot of money to lose. Anyways, go check out that video. Just more comedy gold. More comedy gold. I'll be going over the Bitcoin Gold website and we'll look at it. We'll see if that wallet's there. It probably isn't there, but everyone should know about it. Okay, Brian McLaughlin, he's a Coinbase user. He has an account over there. He just got something in the email, and he brought it to my attention. And there is a blog for it, Bitcoin SegWit 2x update. So they're updating everyone about the Bitcoin SegWit 2x update, and you might want to know if you're a Coinbase customer, you definitely want to know about this, because apparently they're not, like, literally tomorrow, I think tomorrow is a scheduled time, they're not going to let any withdrawals or deposits. And so you're going to be stuck for a while. Tomorrow, maybe. I'll go over that blog. And then also in the notes section, this is the main thing I'm going to be talking about: connecting blockchains, instant cross-chain transactions on Lightning. Lightning, I should say. I don't know why they spell it that way. Lightning. Is that how you really spell lightning? I feel like saying lightning. Anyways, I'll go over that. It's going to be really, really more detailed. I'm going to try my best to explain Lightning to you. I'm going to try to explain cross-chain atomic swaps. I'm going to try to explain how Lightning works, and then how cross-chain Lightning transactions work. So stick with me. It may be a long episode. And then, of course, I have a link to Bitcoin 2x. Maybe I'll check that website out. I don't know what's going on. And then the following: Bitpaco is reapply to the mailing list, which Bitpaco says they're not going to do SegWit 2x. And then an article: mysterious group Bitpaco threatens to execute Bitcoin hard fork. And then there's an article of the original reply to the mailing list, which Bitpaco wanted to continue the SegWit 2x hard fork. So very interesting. And of course, I got all my other links. Why has ICO index labeled BitConnect as an outright fraud? Notice regarding high yield coins on top of BitConnect. Why is BitConnect? What is BitConnect, and why we have decided to distance ourselves? Anyways, if you're watching this and you happen to see an ad for BitConnect, mostly by Craig Grant or Juliana, which is Craig Grant's like mistress, you probably want to watch this video. It's James Bond Bitcoin Live 0017, where I interview 3 BitConnectors. 3 of them. All right. They all had to hold each other's hand while I was during the interview. I mean, it was ridiculous. 2 of them rage quit. One of them was stupid enough to stick around to the end to let you know where you can find him. And then had a 4th guest, which was, he was just a regular guest, Crypto Blood. And even he admitted, I mean, from his eyes, BitConnect was a Ponzi, right? So anyways, go check out that video. And if you still want to do BitConnect, go ahead and put all your money in it so it can last just a little bit longer. All right, then I have a video theme for this video. The video is Shazam transformations. And basically, Lightning is just gonna Shazam, turn a little boy, Shazam, into a big superhero with muscles and make you fly and do amazing things. So if you say Shazam enough times, maybe your blockchain will become like Shazam. And the meme you're seeing today is hashtag yes2x72. Yes, I'm still labeling my memes hashtag yes2x. You're looking at it right now. Let me check if the stream is going. Yep, it sure is. All right, and then I have the link to the Bitcoin pot of gold. I have also a link to the address, to the donational address to the Bitcoin pot of gold. Please donate to the Bitcoin pot of gold. Sweeten that pot up really nice so everybody else can try to crack the code or figure out the 24 recovery seed. I think it's up to $50. I think it's more than $50. I should probably check it out. And I should also check out to see if Marty's donation has confirmed yet. Last I checked, it's still unconfirmed. Let's see what it is. But if I can get someone to donate up to $60 worth, or get up to $60 worth, then I'll give you the sixth clue. The sixth clue to the sixth word of the 24-word recovery seed for that SegWit wallet. And then have links to other YouTubers. Hiroja Shibe, Space Odyssey Network, Skive, yes for motivation, and Coffee, the 21 Million Club, and the Crypto Type. Now, the Crypto Type, I just added him into the notes section. He's the one, I think he used my Bitcoin wallet to try to split Bitcoin Gold, and I think he got a lot of his Bitcoin stolen from him. All right, because apparently that wallet had some malware, and he probably provided the private key. You have to provide private key to split your Bitcoin Gold, and then they took his Bitcoin. I think he didn't really get into the details. I think it was an online wallet. It might have been one of those Ethereum chamber scams. I made a video about Ethereum chamber. Ethereum, if for those of you who didn't know what Ethereum chamber is, Ethereum chamber was an online wallet. It was like my Ether wallet. It was a clone of my Ether wallet. And the only difference was that as you were making your Ethereum wallets, people were in the background, they were copying your private keys. And I think they stole, I don't know how many, 18, 20 million, 40 million, whatever, ridiculous amount of Ethereum. So that's I think that's the situation with my Bitcoin Gold wallet. So let me check out who's in the chat. Let's check it. Let's see who's in there. Free Skillshare Media. Welcome. Dual Overhead, Camness, FUD Machine, Tomcat. Marty, how you doing? Welcome back. Good to see you. Yeah, Marty, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go over that email that if you're a Coinbase customer, you probably got this email from Coinbase telling you what they're going to do tomorrow. Kind of really short deadline. All right, excellent. And Brian, welcome, Brian. And Hiroja Shibe, Space Odyssey Network. How you all doing? All right, so let's get on to the meme here. Here's my lovely meme. I originally I think almost last year. It's almost been a year. I did a video, a prediction video on Litecoin, and I used Shazam in the. This is when I did the 3D audio stereogram. If you don't know what an audio stereogram is, I think I'm saying it right. Audio stereogram. Basically, this is if you could take two pictures from a different angle, and if you use parallel viewing, not cross-eye viewing, parallel viewing. If you look at the image, you can actually see there's only two images, but if you parallel view, there would be a third image that appears in the middle. And what you're basically doing is you're getting different perceptions of the same image, and it creates a 3D image. I was doing a lot of those at the time, and I made one about Litecoin and how if it was going to get SegWit first, it would get Lightning. Talked about some of the cross-chain atomic swaps. I'll be going over that. So that's what I'm going to be mainly talking about. But let me go into the different sections of what I have here for you. So let me go here. Oh, sorry about that. All right. Pot of gold. All right. The donation. The QR code in the arrow pointing to the pot of gold, that is the donational address. If you happen to have your smartphone with you that has like all your Bitcoins, feel free to scan it and push send all. Put the highest fee in there. You're set to go. The QR code on the right is the encrypted private key. It will provide you the private key, the private key if you can figure out the passcode or the password. Now keep in mind, this is a SegWit wallet. Unless you actually are using a SegWit wallet or you know how to use a SegWit sender, you kind of have to learn something about how to use SegWit wallets or SegWit addresses. Like I said at the beginning, if you can donate. Hello, Andre Barnwell. Welcome to the show. Thank you for your comment from the last video. I pinned it on the last video. So if you know, where was I? Oh, if you can donate, and I think it's up to 50, somewhere around $50. I have to see, the price has gone up a lot, hasn't it, of Bitcoin? Anyways, if I can get a donation that gets it up to around $60, I'll give the 6th clue to the 6th word of the 24-word recovery seed. And if you know how to use the recovery seed, you'll also realize that there's about 2,000 words that are used to make the mnemonic seed. I think you could find those 22,000 plus words in the GitHub somewhere, and you can try to figure out the different combinations and try to crack the mnemonic seed that way too. Now, if you actually get the word, if you actually get the different word, I think you increase your chance by like 1,000 times or something like that. I don't know. It gets really ridiculous. The odds of actually cracking a mnemonic seed is very, very high. All the different combinations that you can make to come up that it generates the actual seed to generate the wallet. So anyways, there you go. Plug in for that. All right, so let's go over this. Coinbase blog. Brian just sent me what looks like an email that was just sent to him very recently, not too, I would say just about an hour from when the show started. And essentially, he's getting something like this. Bitcoin SegWit update. All right, Coinbase is actively monitoring this situation and will make every attempt to allow customers to benefit from this fork if it results in a safe and functioning network. No action is required, and all funds stored on Coinbase remain safe. So I was reading this here, and it's pretty much the same thing you probably got in your email if you're a Coinbase user, most likely. And as I'm looking at this, they mentioned 2 a.m. Pacific time, November 7th. Okay. That's kind of when they anticipate what they're doing. So to protect customers' funds, Coinbase will disable Bitcoin send and receives at 2 a.m. Pacific time on November 17th and disable buy and sells an hour before the fork, which is currently predicted to occur between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific time on November 17th. So that's kind of what's going to happen, everyone. So I hope you're all ready for this if you have a Coinbase account. And then all functionality will be re-enabled shortly afterwards, which I highly doubt because they probably don't know what's happening. Anyways, they go through different scenarios here. Scenario 1, network is unstable. So if it's unstable, they won't support the SegWit 2x hard fork. Now, I don't know if it's dead or not. I looked at the network hash rate of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. I'm still seeing a 1%, not a 1%, 10 to 13% hash rate that seems to be not there. Like if I compared it to November 8th, on the day that SegWit 2x was canceled, and then I compare the hash rate to today, there's about 10 to 13% of the hash rate that went missing. So brace yourselves and hope that this never happens. And so anyways, if at a later time it does stabilize, they will consider withdrawals. Now the scenario 2 is network is usable. And in that case, it says here, if transactions are being confirmed at a reasonable speed and miner support is strong, we will allow Coinbase customers to withdraw Bitcoin 2x. We will not immediately enable buy and sells as previously stated, but we may enable them at a later date. And so there you go. Very short notice. Very, very short notice. And of course, they leave a little note here that they're still going to be, we continue to work on Bitcoin Cash and are on track for January 1st. So January 1st is when you'll most likely get your Bitcoin Cash. So, hey, Rich Hedrick, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. Yes, I know. I talk about it in the links. I do that on every live stream. Those are for people who only watch 10 minutes of the show and just want to go into the links of the notes to get what's going on. My shows, my live streams usually run about an hour and 40 minutes, just to let you know. So you didn't miss much. Well, don't worry. I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes here. All right. So there you go on that. So the link's in the notes section. Check it out for yourself. All right. So what is next after that? Is it Lightning? Okay. Well, I'm not going to go into Lightning quite yet. Save that just for a little bit later. But let me go into let me go into Bitcoin Gold first. There we go. Let's go to the bitcoingold.org site. And let's see what stuff about the wallets are. Because apparently, and I did, I think I did a video. Well, let me see here. Where is this part about the wallets? And I'm seeing a lot of videos of people complaining about mining for like 2-3 days and all they're getting is $60. Everyone's really pissed. Okay, so here it is. On the wallet section, there was my Bitcoin wallet. Now it's not there. If you go back to some of my previous videos, I think I go over the website and that wallet was there. So it was my Bitcoin wallet. Apparently, we're stealing people's Bitcoin. Now, if you're going to split your coins, the best thing to do is to move your Bitcoins out of that wallet or out of that address and then try to split your Bitcoin Gold, because Bitcoin Gold should have replay protection. And you should be able to split it from that way. Do not try to split your Bitcoin Gold from an address that has Bitcoin in it. Okay, please do not do that. Make sure you remove all your Bitcoins before you provide your private key to split your Bitcoin Gold. So that's what you want to do. So Bitcoin Gold should have replay protection. If it doesn't, then forget it. this is not worth it. It's not worth losing your Bitcoin just to get some Bitcoin Gold. So there was a My Bitcoin wallet. It was an online wallet, I believe. And now it's gone because apparently it's taking people's Bitcoins. And some people, I mean, if you look at the crypto type, if you go to that video, he says he lost quite a bit. And he mentions someone who lost 6 Bitcoins. And 6 Bitcoins at current price is almost it's what, $36,000. That's not good. That's very bad. And the fact that this was on their website, I mean, they didn't even check. They didn't even check the wallets. So obviously, very very bad for Bitcoin Gold. They're going on a really rocky start. And now they got a little disclaimer here. Oh, look at that. Now they got a little disclaimer down here. Let me see. The Bitcoin Gold organization, bitcoingold.org, can I take responsibility for third-party providers, such as listed exchanges, wallets, sites, and pools. All links hosted on our domain are by community members and third parties, and by clicking on any of these listed links, you are accepting the risk of using the third-party domain and taking responsibility for any losses, damages, or otherwise issues using said domain. Cryptocurrencies are inherently risky, and investors and users must remain vigilant. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Excellent. So just want to share that. Another comedy gold. Another comedy gold. So if you had My Bitcoin Gold wallet or something like that, you should probably stop using it right away. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to share. All right, let's go into the. All right, so now let's get into the hash rate. All right, so there's the hash rate. You could tell, wow. All right, so this right here is the hash rate between the two. I just gotta put my cursor over the to the right. That represents today, which is 16th, or the end of day 16. Let me see. Today's, well, I'm going into 17, but I'm just, this goes. This is 1 day. So Bitcoin hash rate is at 10.2. And then Bitcoin Cash has dropped. It's at it's not even at a terahash, I think. It's less than 1. But if you add these two things, you get like 11. No, you don't even get 11. You get like 10.9. 10.9 something. And so if I take the cursor and I go to November 8th. Hello, Yellow Fever for you, and Tomcat, good to see you. And Bitcoin B, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. So if you look at November 8th, the day that SegWit was canceled, and you add the total hash rate between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin, you're getting at least a 12.2 total hash rate. I'm just adding right there what I see, 12.2. I don't know if it's terahashes or petahashes. I'm assuming it's probably terahashes. And then if you look at now, it's barely 11. So there's definitely at least 10%, at least 10. I'm thinking like 13 to 10, somewhere around there, of hashing power that is gone. And where to go? So could there be a SegWit 2x hard fork? I don't know. And don't worry, I'll get to the mempool. I'll get to Bitcoin fees. I'll get to the mempool, and then I'll also get to do a chart analysis at the end of this video. Okay, so let's take a look at the difficulty, because I know the difficulty is changing for Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin difficulty is going to stay the same. Bitcoin Cash is going to change slightly. So there's a difficulty. So difficulty is dropped, but the hash rate has not increased. So no one's mining Bitcoin Cash at the moment. And so let's have a look at the mining profitability of Bitcoin Cash. And then, so Bitcoin Cash is about the same, slightly lower. They both are trending downwards, but Bitcoin is still profitable. All right, and that's just on block rewards alone. If you look at the average transaction fee, Bitcoin's actually more profitable because the average transaction fee, it's still pretty high. I think people are still putting a high fee to get their transactions done. I think they should be all right. But look at the fee here. Average Bitcoin fee is $12 for Bitcoin. So the miners are probably going to mine the Bitcoin blockchain. Not only is it more profitable to mine, but they'll also get the fee, so it's even more profitable. And then Bitcoin Cash, you can see that their average transaction is very low. And then let me see here. Let's look at the block size I'm sorry. Well, we'll look at the block size anyway. Block size, Bitcoin is still under 1 megabyte, still straddling that line. And then you see that Bitcoin Cash is barely doing 200K. Okay, now let's do the block time real quick. Let's have a look real quick. All right, so difficulty, I think, slightly increased. So maybe. I think that's almost about the same. But you'll notice that the hashing power has definitely decreased for Bitcoin Cash. So their block times are 17 minutes, while Bitcoin block time is 9.5 minutes. So a lot of the transactions are going to be going through. All the mempool should be lower, is my assumption. All right, so now let's look at the transactions here real quick. All right, so Bitcoin transactions that were actually mined into the block. $310,000 transactions versus 28,000 transactions. So quite a bit of difference. More people are using Bitcoin despite the high fees. If Bitcoin Cash was in demand, you would literally see this inverting, right? Bitcoin Cash would be trending upwards, but that's not what you're seeing. So not many people are using Bitcoin Cash. Okay. All right. So let's go back to this. Okay. So connecting blockchains, instant cross-chain transactions on Lightning. I'm going to try to explain to you. There is a video here. So if you go and go to the link, I'm going to try to explain to you how I think the Lightning network works, or even basic cross-chain atomic transactions work. I'm going to do my best on that. If I do make a mistake, I'm sorry. I have looked into Lightning, so I think I have some rudimentary idea of how it works. I'm going to try my best to explain it, because this is kind of the thing that may affect the pricing of Bitcoin here. So first thing I'll talk about is on-chain swaps, and how basically this is showing how atomic swaps work for the most part. And let me see here if I can. I'm going to try to use this here. All right, there we go. Oh, actually, let me see here. All right, let's see if this works a little bit better. Slightly. Okay. Let's see here. All right, so on a cross atomic swap, it's kind of different. It is a push system. Okay, so that's the main difference that I'm seeing here. That it is a push system and how it's done. And so let's see if I could use my pen here. And I'll try to explain it here. And so the person who initiates the atomic swap generates basically I guess you could say a key, a private key sort of. This is very basic cryptography for the most part on how it's used. This is from a Bitcoin to a Litecoin on-chain swap. And so if you see right here, Alice is initiating the atomic swap. So she has to generate the random X, which is, I think, a random key that's generated that has to be provided in order to basically release the funds to each other. Now, if you notice something, this is all a push system from what I can see. Now, Lightning's different. It's a little, it's similar, but it's different from what I can tell. It seems like it's a pull system. And so what you have there is Alice will initiate it, and then you have Bob, and they'll both fund into, I guess you could say, some kind of contract. It's a timed locked contract in some sense, and can only be released if you provide the random X right here, the random X. And so once they fund everything, everything should go as long as Alice provides the random X. All right. And so and it's basically a multi-signature from what I could tell. Now, if you notice, there's 24 hours on this side right here. Well, that 24 hours is not for Bob. It's actually for Alice, because Alice only has 24 hours to go ahead and fund the Bitcoins to provide Litecoins and send Bob the X. So what you're seeing pretty much right here. Send Bob the X. And so there's a time limit on that. But after they provide the key, after Alex, I think, provides the key, of course, Bob will literally have 48 hours right here. And 48 hours is how much time Bob has before the contract expires. So basically what's going to happen is that either two things are going to happen. One, the transaction happens or the transaction doesn't happen. And so that's pretty much it. And then I guess this is what you're seeing here as X is being revealed here, and the transactions are essentially released or sent to each other on chain at the same time. Now, if none of this happens, this dotted line, these dotted lines here, I'm going to put it as red. If there's a 24-hour period where Bob, this guy right here, does not fund the transaction, the 24-hour period here applies to Alice. It will just simply just go right back to her. And then if 48 hours passes by and Bob does nothing, it will do the same thing on this side right here. And so it's kind of interesting, and it's very simple. It's simply a push-based system like anything else. Either the contract happens or it doesn't. And that's the basics of it from what I can tell. And so, and of course, this right here in the middle, this here in the middle just represents this section right here. That's all it does. That's all that is. So that's what I could tell from on-chain swap. I'm assuming you have to run a full node. And to do this, I have never done it, but I'm trying to understand the concept of this. And so that's an on-chain swap. And so that's what this is here. So this explains the on-chain swap, which I think is pretty simple to understand. It's reasonable. But if you take this model, it's almost the same as Lightning transactions, very similar. So let me scroll down to the Lightning transaction, and it talks about the setup, the claim phase, and then it talks about how does this relate to Lightning transactions. And then you have something similar in here as well. Let me change the, let me zoom in here a little bit more. There we go. So Lightning transactions are a little different. Now, let me warn you. Let me tell you something from what I understand of Lightning transactions. So Lightning transactions, apparently you need to run a Lightning node, or you need somebody else to run a Lightning node or something like that. So a Lightning node is needed, right? And then also a Bitcoin node is needed as well. Now, this Lightning payment system is based on the Bitcoin, but you can obviously do it for Litecoin. Probably all the coins out there are going to do some kind of Lightning. Even Ethereum's doing some kind of Lightning, off-chain Lightning solution. So this is kind of what, from what I understand, this is kind of what it looks like. And Lightning is a pull-based system, from what I could tell. So you're pulling transactions. You're not pushing transaction as much. And so here's what I can tell from reading this blog and my understanding of Lightning. It does, you need to have a channel. So think of a channel like a network, like at a personal level, like a social network, or a personal network, like you have people in your life that you know, like maybe your spouse, if you have children, your children, you know, your kid, your son, your daughter, you have like a relationship. Think of those as channels. And so channels is like people you know, and you build a relationship with those people, and you're, I don't know, exchanging trust or something like that. Well, if you think about in a Lightning network, making a channel with someone is basically you're making a payment channel with people. And so think about it as a network that you're trying to build out. So there's in this particular model here, I'm going to try to do the same thing. here. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't show up here. Let me try one more time. Oh. Go down just a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, so in the Lightning Network, you got like Alice right here. You have Bob right here, and then you have Carol. ABC is what they call it. Anyways, so in this particular case, Alice right here does not know or does not have a payment channel with Carol right here, who is the person who wants the Bitcoin. So this is a Bitcoin Lightning platform here. But for some reason, these two women, Alice and Carol, they know Bob, you know. And, you know, I kind of joke around a little bit. Like, if you look at Lightning Network payments, I think the greatest use case may be like maybe through the sex trade. I mean, this is kind of funny, but maybe Lightning Network will be used for sex trade. You think about it; it's somewhat anonymous, it's instant, and then, you know, the way they have the name set up, it would make sense for some people. Not me, but it would make some sense. So let's say like Carol has some reason Carol knows Bob, and they have a channel, all right, for whatever. They have a relationship for some reason. But at the same time, Bob knows Alice, and Alice, for some reason, has a channel with him. Maybe Bob had, you know, sexual relations with Carol and Alice, and they just don't know each other. But for some reason, Carol needs to get a payment from Alice. Who knows why? Who knows? Anyways. That's why Bob is in the middle of all this. So the channels that Alice and Carol have in common are with Bob, and so that's why he's in the middle. Now, typically, you just want to channel with one person directly. It'd be a lot easier, but let's just leave 3 people. It gets actually more complicated if you add more people. They're called hops, quote unquote hops. So the more people you have to bounce off of, the more complicated. It's not more complicated, but it gets a little weird, because there is a situation with the time. There is a 24-hour time, and then there's a 48-hour time. This is very similar to the way that the on-chain Lightning swaps are. The reason why there's a 24-hour time is to give Alice right here 24 hours to fund that payment channel, all right, or to get that payment channel going. And then, of course, Bob has 48 hours on the payment channel. The more people you add, you have to essentially double that time. This is the weird part about Lightning, the Lightning payment network. So if you had another person, there would be like 72 hours or something. So anyways, let me get to this here. So since this is a pool-based system, yeah, Bob's, you know, I was Bitcoin B. As I was like listening and researching Lightning networks, I am not kidding. I really thought, wow, this platform would be really great for pimps. You know, like people would go to the pimp, right? Or put it this way, if I was a pimp, right, and I had all my little workers, I'll call them workers, and, you know, I have a channel with all my workers, right? But nobody has a channel with the workers, right? So everyone has to come through me on a payment channel in order to get to the workers, to pay the workers. So in this case, you know, being this pimp and hoe model, some people call it a spoke and hub model, but I'm going to say it's a pimp and hoe model. So basically, if you want to get to Alice or to get to Carol, you're going to have to come through me, and you're going to have to make a channel with me, and it'll be instant and it'll be private, all that good stuff. Interesting. Anyways, what happens is this is a pull-based system. So Carol here at the end, she's going to generate. She's the one that's going to generate the random n or random x, and that random x here, this x, is going to be used here. All right. So it goes kind of backwards. It literally does. It goes backwards. So as each of these people fund their channel, fund it, as they fund their channel here, they're given the X or the key to pull it. So it's going to be pulled. It literally goes backwards in such a weird way. And so eventually this gets done, and eventually this whole circuit right here. Let me see, how can I explain this circuit right here? Okay, this whole circuit ends up going to Carol. So it goes through here, and then it goes through here. So this is what essentially ends up happening, is this blue X right here, this blue X is essentially this right here, which Alice will go to Bob, and then it goes to Carol, right? But what ends up happening is there's a channel between Alice, this Alice, and this Bob, which this is the payment here, which then it just goes to Bob and Carol right here. This is the payment that goes to Bob and Carol that ends up with Carol. And so that's the simplest how it works. So it's a pull system, and it has the same mechanism as like the on-chain atomic swaps, right? But it's different. It's a pull system. So the person who is receiving your Bitcoin generates the key for the most part, and then so that's how it goes. And as you can tell, there's the same setup here. They have the 24 hours. So Alice has to do this in 24 hours, or it just doesn't go. And then Bob right here has 48 hours to complete his deal to get this to Carol. So basically what happens is Carol, Alice pays Bob, and then Bob pays Carol. That's essentially what happens. So it's a pull system. Now, the only drawback that I have is this is the only thing that I think is in jeopardy, is if you, for some reason, in order to participate in the Lightning Network or in the Lightning platform, you have to be on the internet, and you have to have your node on, which is basically your wallet. So you have to be on all the time. Now, for whatever reason, if you like drop dead, let me see here. I didn't put 48 hours here. 48 hours. If for whatever reason you drop dead, right, you drop dead. Let me make this here an hour. So for whatever reason you drop dead, like if you're Bob and you drop dead, apparently nothing's going to happen, and you have to wait out 48 hours or 24 hours. Well, actually, it's going to be 48 hours, because if it goes from Alice to Bob and Bob drops dead and never gets back online with his wallet, your coins will be locked up for 48 hours. At least I'll put it in red. At least Alice's coin will be locked up for 48 hours because Bob is dead. Your pimp is dead. So anyways, so that's the drawback. It gets a little bit more detail if you want to go ahead and read it. And it has the same scenario where if for whatever reason this does not happen, this just essentially just goes back to Bob, and this essentially just goes back to Alice. So it just, if the transaction never gets done, it just gets kicked back, but there's just a time limit. Now, there is some penalty. Am I drawing Squidward? I am. It is Squidward. So that's just the Lightning Network. And you know, the reason I'm showing you this is this shit is kind of complicated. It does get complicated. And here's the weird part, from what I understand, is when you build a channel with someone, you can leave that channel open. And as long as that channel is open, you have to maintain all the data, all the transactions that you've done on that channel, as long as it's open. And so this is kind of complicated. It gets kind of very, very confusing. And this is a second layer. Okay, this is a second layer. A lot of things are happening on this second layer, or this may be even a third layer. I mean, people are starting to push this to the third layer now. And so this is all off chain. This is done through Lightning nodes. And not only do you have to have a Lightning node, Bitcoin B, you're funny. Okay, not only do you have to have a Lightning node, but you also have to have a Bitcoin node as well. So you have to run a Lightning node to keep track of everything that goes on on the Lightning network. All right, and how many channels you have. So the more channels you have with people, the more data it requires. Right. So this is getting kind of intensive here. And then on top of that, you're also you're supposed to have a Bitcoin node as well, because that's the way when you close the channel, you're sending your transactions from the Lightning network onto the blockchain. And also there is a mechanism where you guys are killing me in the live chat. Oh goodness. So there is a mechanism for people who do not complete their who don't complete the transaction. So let's say for example, Alice completes the transaction with Bob, and then never pays, and somehow never, for whatever reason, never pays Carol. So Alice over here pays Bob, transfers the Bitcoin to Bob, but Bob, for whatever reason, because you know he's a pimp, right? He's pretty much a pimp, taking everybody's money. Never gives the money to Carol over here, and then for whatever reason, the transactions never reverse back. Supposedly, there's going to be a payment service, or either you keep track of this payment, and for whatever reason, in this contract, let me see here. Let me repaste this. Okay, there we go. Is that better? That's a little bit better. Everything's cleared out. So for whatever reason, oop, didn't want to do that. Okay. So right here in this payment channel, for whatever reason, it doesn't go through, but the payment was sent to Bob, but the payment never went to Carol. If whatever reason Bob is dead or decides not to comply, there is a mechanism, there's a penalty for not complying. And that penalty is that you will lose what's basically you will lose, I did it again. Hold on. Basically, you're going to lose your Bitcoins that was in here. Let's just say 1 BTC, 1 BTC. So essentially, you're going to lose, Bob's going to lose out on this. He's going to lose out. And supposedly the penalty goes to the person who had to put up their Bitcoin at risk as well. So the penalty, all this goes to Alice, if whatever reason, if Bob decides to bail or tries to bail. And so since it's a contract or it's a timed contract, that shouldn't happen, but for whatever reason it does, and it expires and the person doesn't comply or doesn't get back online with their Lightning node, it's set up in a way that it penalizes that person, and the Bitcoins that is in the time-locked contract, multi-signature, whatever, is then goes to the person who had to risk their Bitcoin if for whatever reason Bob decided to be nefarious. So that's another thing about the Lightning Network that's supposedly going to be there. That's supposed to be in the system. Another one is, and I don't know if the author mentions this at all. I don't think the author mentions this at all. But apparently, for Bob being for Bob here, he's the middleman. He can charge a fee. He can charge like I don't know, how much would I charge a fee? I would charge like 50 satoshis. So you, for being a part of the channel, for being the person who's providing liquidity, you can essentially charge a fee as well. That's the other thing about the Lightning Network that they talked about. Now, I don't know if it's going to be actually there or not. I haven't even tried it. I don't even know where to get a Lightning node, to be honest with you. Yes, it is a built-in. It's pretty much a built-in escrow. Supposedly, it's a built-in escrow. You're right, DD 8209. That's what it's supposed to be. So that's a simple. This really is a simple. This is with one hop. This is one hop. Really, you just want to make a direct payment to the person that you have a channel with. But this is one hop, and so this is kind of trying to explain. The diagram's trying to show like a atomic swap on a Lightning network, essentially, and just to get Carol some money right over here. That's all it is. So this is supposed to be simple. I can't imagine if you had like 2 or 3 hops. That's a lot of data that you have to store on your channel with that payment person, or to whoever, whatever your network is. So I'm a little skeptical about this until this actually happens. Right now, no one's using this, so I don't expect people like I don't really expect this to be flooded, but once you get a lot of people using this, it's supposed to be like 1,000 transactions per second or something like that, something ridiculous. It's supposed to compete with Visa. I'm not sure if it will. I'm I'm always skeptical about this stuff. So, but let me go down here. Okay, let me finish this up here. So a lightning swap, okay, a lightning swap is a combination of both of those. Okay, so a lightning swap is a combination of both of those. And so this is the diagram for the lightning swap. And so, like I told you, on the Lightning Network, it's not a push-based system. It's not a push-based system like on-chain transactions, where both participants push their transactions into basically a multi-signature contract. And once it goes in there, you know, it knows that both payments have been completed, and then it will swap them automatically. Now, Lightning swaps are different because it's a pull system. Let's see here. Hello, Patrick Dujaman Jean. I don't know how to say. How you doing, Patrick? Welcome to the channel. So a lightning swap is supposed to be like a combination of a swap between two different chains, and supposedly you're supposed to build a bridge between the two. So lightning swap is very interesting in concept. Okay, I think you have to have, okay, first of all, you have to have a lightning node on both of those chains. So you have to run a full node, a full Bitcoin node, and a full Litecoin node. Now, if you were smart, you would have both full Bitcoin nodes and full Litecoin nodes. Each party, Alice and Bob, would probably have a full Bitcoin node and a full Litecoin node, both of them, if they were smart. That's just insurance, just in case they try to screw each other over, that they would both be able to verify. So, in order to do this, I think, and I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to correct me in the comments or anything. But most likely, Alice and Bob in this situation, they each have a full Bitcoin node and a full Litecoin node. All right, and most likely, not only that, they'll probably most likely also have a full Bitcoin Lightning node and a Litecoin Lightning node, both of them. So you have to literally have 4 nodes, all right, both of each, if you're going to probably do this, is what I'm thinking. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't done too much research, but the research I have done would indicate to me that you probably want to run full nodes, both Bitcoin and Litecoin. And then you have to have a Lightning node for Bitcoin Lightning node and a Litecoin Lightning node as well to get this done, because you're verifying each other's transactions with each other. You know what I'm saying? So, my gosh, there's a lot here. There's a lot. Anyways, let me see if I can do this on Paint here again. Let's see if I can do this. Nope, it's not doing it. I'm gonna have to shrink this a little bit more. Or if you can't see it, apologize, but I'm just trying to get it to the point where I can try to explain it. How you doing, Flapping Plemis? Let's see if I can do this here. It doesn't. Let me see here. Why doesn't it come down here a little bit more? There you go. Try this one more time. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Oh, it did that damn thing. Let me see here. Right, one more time. There we go. All right. All right, so a Lightning node, all right, is based on a pool system. All right, so first of all, you have to have a bridge between a Bitcoin Lightning node and a Litecoin Lightning node, which I don't know how to do. Okay, I didn't watch the video, so I can't tell you. They use command lines, which I don't know how to do, but I'm just trying to learn this just by reading this blog. All right. So this is how I'm imagining this from what I understand. So somehow you build a bridge between the two nodes, the Bitcoin node and the Litecoin node, Bitcoin Lightning node and a Litecoin Lightning node. Oh my goodness. So you build a bridge there in order to facilitate this swap for the most part. And doing that, you're doing it off chain, and it's supposed to be instant. All right, that's the key thing. It's supposed to be instant because it's off chain. So just very similar the way it's set up. It's set up just like on-chain swaps. The only difference is in a Lightning platform, it's a pool-based system. It's a pool-based system. So Alice here, it has to generate the random X, which I think is most likely the key to or part of the key in order to release the funds. So, and if you know how it works, the key is needed, and then it allows them to both swap at the same time. So providing that key is kind of important. But Alice has to generate the key, right? And so Alice initiates the transaction and is also the recipient of the transaction. So that's why it's going to go into a circle. She's going to do it herself. This is kind of very interesting. She's doing a runaround in order to do the swap because it's a pull-based system. So let me let me get rid of that real quick here. So anyways, so she initiates. Oh, sorry. So she initiates the transaction, getting X, okay, and then essentially it funds the payment channel right here. And then Bob does essentially the same. Let me just do blue. Bob does the same. And then here's your X part right here. This is the escrow part right here in that transaction. And essentially, it's just a basic swap that you see on the on-chain atomic swap. The same diagram is pretty much is very similar. It's actually the same. So once that's done, they essentially swap, right? They essentially get a swap. The only difference is now the only difference on the Lightning network is it just doesn't swap it doesn't cross over and then pay. They don't end up paying each other. What really happens is Alice pays Bob, right? And then Alice pays Bob 1 BTC, right? And then I don't know how many, like 1,000 or 100. And then Bob ends up paying. Let me use a different color. I'll use green. So, and then Bob ends up paying Alice 100 LTC. And so that's pretty much what's going on here. It's just going into a circle. And so she actually, let me use the red. So she initiates the contract into 1 Bitcoin. So that's what really happens is Alice initiates 1 Bitcoin into the contract, which goes up here, provides the X, which is, I think, the key, and then Bob ends up getting 1 Bitcoin, right? And the contract goes in a circle back into Alice. So in a Lightning situation, in a Lightning swap, Alice has to initiate and be the recipient of so she's pulling, she's essentially pulling and then receiving at the same time. And so that's pretty much the only difference that I could tell. All right, excellent. I wonder. All right, so that's how I understand the Lightning network, the Lightning swapping. It's I don't know. It seems very, very confusing compared to if I just meet someone. You know, Litecoin doesn't take that long. If I meet someone in person and I say, hey, I'm going to give you 1 Bitcoin, you give me 100 Litecoins, and we just do it on chain, because eventually, like a channel that you build, you have to close this channel eventually, and you have to close this channel in order to get it on the blockchain, on the corresponding blockchains. So at the very end, you know, that's what you're going to be doing. Why don't you just do it on the blockchain? You know, why don't you just go ahead and just do the swap originally, or even in person? Why even need the swap? Supposedly you're going to do this anonymously, maybe. Will this facilitate the large transaction volumes of an exchange? It's hard to say at this point, because there's really nothing going on. There's very few people who are doing this. I don't even know how to get a Lightning node at all. And so, you know, keep in mind, you have to have a Lightning node, right? If you're going to do a Lightning swap between two different chains, you have to have a Lightning node for each of those. You have to have Bitcoin Lightning node and a Litecoin Lightning node. And then you have to have a full node as well. So you have to have a full Bitcoin node as well as the full Litecoin node. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, as an individual, you know, when I first heard about this, I thought maybe I could do this and I could run an atomic swap exchange, and then I can make, you know, I can make an offer, I can make money on the spread. But the equipment that I would need, and the memory that it would take, and the data that it would take to store all of this, and then I have to close the channel to settle this on the blockchain and pay the fee for that. I'm thinking this may not be worth, right now, as far as I see it right now, it may not be worth it for an individual, just because you gotta run all these nodes to do this. And you know, owning and running nodes right now on Litecoin or Bitcoin doesn't pay you. Maybe the Lightning node will pay you for that, because you can charge a spread on the atomic swap, and plus you could charge a spread for providing liquidity. But I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if it's enough. So anyways, let me get back to this here. So that's my take, review, or whatever you want to think of it, on Lightning swaps. Go ahead and read it for yourself. It's interesting. I think if people actually can show me or can prove that this is useful, I think there's some cases that it might be useful. But the problem with this is that everyone has to operate a full node, and you have to be online. You have to be on the internet with your wallet in order for the Lightning network to grow and be built on top of that. And so that's quite an effort. That's quite an effort. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. That's just right now, that's just my opinion on it. So All right, so let me go into, let me see here. Let me get rid of this now. So let me go over, oh, no, this here. All right, so let me go over the mempool real quick. Sorry if I explained too long, but I just wanted to cover my bases on that. I mean, this could be, you know, the Lightning Network could be a way of removing exchanges, possibly, but again, you know, you have to have the Bitcoins in those channels. So, you know, I don't know if I would risk that many Bitcoins, and so it wouldn't be a lot in volume. I don't think it would be a lot in volume to do that. Okay, so I'm looking at the mempool here, and it looks like, let me see the green. It looks like it's going. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's eating up in the 20 to 30 Satoshi per byte transactions right now. Let's see what it says as far as the amount of transactions. It says here 44,000 transactions in the mempool here. I don't know if that's truly accurate, but it looks like it's eating up this green space here. That green space represents what does it represent? 20 to 30 satoshis per byte. So let me see if I can verify that. I'm going to go to the Treasure, the Bitcoin Pot of Gold wallet, and see if that transaction has confirmed. Oh, it did. It did confirm. This was Marty's transaction, so it's going. It doesn't even tell you what the transactions are anymore. I don't know why they keep changing it, but this was the 40. Here it is, right here. 40 Satoshi per byte. So it did confirm. So everything's in here, and wow, it's already at $60. So if I can get like a small donation to push it up to $60, I can give away the 6th clue to the 6th word of the recovery, 24 word recovery seed. So, anyways, so that's awesome. That is looking good. That is looking good. Wow, you're seeing a lot of jagged spikes. That means the mempool is going down. When you see the spikes get a little bigger like that, let's see how much by size. Yeah, the smaller transactions take up a lot of size. How long did it take me? Let me gosh, I didn't even have a chance to look at it. Let's see how long it took. Let's see how long it took to do that transaction. When did it first go? It doesn't tell me a date. 9th. So the 9th. So what's today? The 7th. So it took 8 days. I think it took 8 days. Is that right? 8, 7? No, 8. 8 days. That's how long it took to get this transaction confirmed. But it got confirmed. You know, there's no doubt about it. All right, so let me go into the Bitcoin fees. Or Bitcoin earned. bitcoinfees.earn.com. Yeah, so it's showing right here, 21 to 30 satoshis per byte. Those are being confirmed right now. You can see the big bar right here. So eventually, it'll get down to hopefully the 11 to 20 satoshis per byte, and then finally down to the 1 to 10 satoshis per byte. So it looks like if your fees are anything above 40 satoshis per byte, looks like there's a really good chance it will go through in a reasonable amount of time. It's not going to be like days. Let's see what the average. Yeah, look at, there's a lot of empty space here. Looks like a lot of people are paying like 460 satoshis per byte. You're probably overpaying. The wallets probably are overcharging right now, so you probably want to you know, if you're under 100 and over 50 and you don't mind waiting, it's not urgent, that's probably a good range, Satoshi per byte, just to get your, oh, it just changed. 460 Satoshis per byte is the fastest and cheapest transaction fee currently. That's 103,960 Satoshis, if you wanted to know that, for a 226 byte transaction, which is basically one output, two inputs. So, but if there's a good chance your wallets are going to recommend a very high fee. I think if you're anything above 40 to 100, I think you're going to be okay. Anything 100 to 200, you should be really okay. Anything over that, I think you're overpaying. If you're paying over 200 satoshis per byte, you're overpaying. That's what I think. All right, so let's go to the mempool now. Now finally get to a chart analysis. Oh wow, look at that. The fees, the transaction count is tremendously down. Just looking at that graph. Unless this thing is stuck. Is this thing stuck on me? Sometimes trade block like just freezes for some reason. And I don't know why. It's not even giving me a count on the mempool right now. Yeah, it's just freezing. It says here the last count was 10,000. So I'll just assume that it's around there. Maybe their server's down or whatever reason. Well, you know what? The last time I seen something like this, let me tell you something. Last time I seen something like this, okay, the last time I see a flat line like this was right before the hard fork for Bitcoin Cash. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my paranoia. Maybe the server's down for block trade. But last time I saw something weird like this was the hard fork of Bitcoin Cash. Maybe it's hard forking or they're pulling out miners and they're doing something weird. I'm not sure. But when I see a little flat line like this, I don't know. Anyways, I can't tell you what's in the mempool, but I showed it to you. All right, let's go on to Wow. Wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. Look at that. You know, the RSI right here, it barely moved up, and look at the price. Look at the price. The price just spiked up that high. It barely moved. And look at this move in the price. That is awesome. If it keeps going up, I mean, it's possible to go up higher. The RSI is, I'm looking at that RSI, and it's just telling me it's going to go up higher. And it's hard for people to believe, I know. It's hard for me to believe as well. But I'm not going to fight the market to prove that I'm right. I'm not going to, go against the market and try to be right on this. I'd rather, if you called the price going down and you're wrong, don't try to fight it. Just go with it, is what I have to say. Well, Bitcoin, dual overhead Camness, Bitcoin was supposed to be Equihash. The only thing I can think of is maybe SegWit 2x. Maybe it is going to take place, and that's where the other 10% of the hashing power is gone. Okay, there you go. What can I say? I mean, it made an all-time high of 7,997. I'll put a line up there right now, and I'll just go ahead and make my usual lines that I do. Support and some resistance. Okay, excellent. And let's go to 1 hour. Wow. Wow. This thing is a monster. The last previous high was right here. There it is. Okay, so that's the last previous high, which looks like that's where it's bouncing around, but I don't know why it needs to do anything like that. On the 1 hour, I'm just going to look. There's no support. There's nothing I can look at or tell you. It's just, the way the price is moving is, it's looking at a 1 hour is just no point. There's just too much to look at. And so, well, let me just go on the 12 hour because I can't read the 1 hour. There's no point in reading the 1 hour. Okay, and then that's the 12 hour. Okay, I'm just looking at the moving averages. I'm just looking at the moving averages on the 12 hour. As you can see, the moving average. And it looks like there is a huge gap here between where the spot price is and then the 10-period moving average right here. And so there might be some consolidation going on around this period. But the fact that the price made a new high, it's not like higher than the last high, but the fact that it did make a new high, that's pretty good. But on the 12 hour, it is showing a gap here. So I do expect some short-term, very short-term consolidation. Let me go into the 1 day. Just take a look. Yeah, 1 day, same thing. I'm seeing the moving average and where the spot price is. It doesn't mean that the price is going to fall or it's going to consolidate, but I'm anticipating consolidation is what I'm trying to say. The price can still go up, and there could still be a gap right here. Still be a gap. But other than that, I mean, it looks great. I mean, I can't argue with the chart. There's no point in arguing with the chart. If the chart shows it's going up, then it's going to go up. The 3-day is also showing a gap here. The price moved a lot. It has moved a lot, but there is a gap here. It doesn't mean that it's going to fall or it's going to go down or it will consolidate. It's just I'm anticipating a consolidation, but it could still go up. I mean, there's nothing stopping the price from going up at this point. No reason to stop whatsoever. It could just go on. It could just keep going and never stop. It has to stop at some point, but it can just keep going and going and going. And what I suspect was fueling this rally, I hear different things. I hear like Square is going to start playing around with Bitcoin, and they might, and then that might be the reason. Another one was, I think Coinbase was going to open up their order book to institutional investors, and they're going to start dealing with large players, which that also might be the reason. But my suspicion, and I'm just saying, from my experience with trading and everything, is that the shorts are getting squeezed. People were anticipating the markets to go down, and they were wrong. And of course, there were a lot more people who were wrong, and that's why the price is going up, because they're paying with their short margin, and they're getting squeezed out, and they may continue to get squeezed out. So the longer or the more people that are in disbelief, and there's a lot. And if you just, let me just take all this out. Okay, now I'll leave this. I'll leave this trend line here, or let me just pull out. So I'll leave this trend line right here. All right. If I looked at that, it's hard to believe that this is happening. First of all, second, the fact that it's beyond that trend line. I mean, just look at this trend line. If I drew this trend line back in 2013, and I told you, if you follow that trend line, eventually the price of Bitcoin will break through that trend line, would you believe me? Probably not. And so, so now that it actually is happening, unfortunately, people are not believing in that trend line. They don't believe it. Not only do they not believe that trend line, they also don't believe that that it's not going to go higher as well. So Patrick says short squeeze is not a healthy rally. Well, you have to understand how my experience or my understanding of how the market works as far as trading on exchanges. You are supposed to lose your money. Matter of fact, 95% of you are supposed to lose your money, and you're funding the rally. So whether it's a short squeeze or it's a long, whatever position you're taking, you're taking a position. If you're shorting, someone's going long against you, right? And as a matter of fact, there's somebody who's taking more positions on long against your short to squeeze you out. And that's just, for some reason, that's just how it works. It just goes out to, at this point, when I see this, people are just in disbelief, and they will not believe the price will go up higher. And unfortunately, there's going to be like more people who think like that, who are going to put in their short on a margin, and they're going to get wrecked. in my opinion. They're just, because the money has to come from somewhere. The money has to be, to push this price up, someone has to pay to push that price up. And so if people aren't buying into this, then it's got to come out of the shorters. It's got to come out of the people who are trying to short. So it may not be healthy, but it is pushing the price up. And eventually, here's the sad part, in my opinion. Okay, I'm just trying to be honest here about my feelings here, on my opinions. Is by the time you realize that this is going to start going, my target price is 10,000. If it, by the time it starts going up that high, and then you finally want a piece of the action on the profits, when you go long, when the majority of people start going long to ride the momentum, to ride the bull market or unicorn market going up, that's when you're going to get wrecked when it starts crashing in the price, because that's just the way the market works. It works. It just works that way, and it sucks because if you were short now, you probably were right, but you're probably 2 to 3 months early, maybe even 4 months early. And when you go long, at the time you think, you know, it's going to go up even further, unfortunately you're going to be wrong on that as well, and you're going to take the brunt of the losses going down. So that's just my honest opinion. Just be careful out there. If you are a long-time holder, this doesn't mean anything. If you're a trader, I think it's a very dangerous time to trade. You should just really hold on to your position and just let other people drive the price up for you at this time. That's just my opinion, but people don't listen. Okay. Anyways, this is going to conclude this episode. I've gone for like an hour and 40 minutes. That's kind of usually my time limit. You know, all I can say, just looking at this, is that it's bullish. I mean, just look at the chart, and it just tells me it's probably still gonna go up. And it may even FOMO at this point. I mean, people seeing the price at this point, it's obviously broken the top trend line of an upward trend. When it does that, that's when you see it like go crazy. It's FOMO time, people. In my opinion, it seems like it's going to start being FOMO time. Okay. Anyways, this is going to conclude this episode. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even do a video response. Until next time, everyone, stay tuned. Bye now.